Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome into this special edition of my top streamable defenses for Week 18 of this NFL season. I can't believe how fast this year has went along. It's already come to an end, so we got to embrace this final football Sunday as we head into the playoffs. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive into this video. I decided to do this video just in case we have any of my listeners that do have a Week 18 championship game. As I've been saying for the last few weeks, if you do have a Week 18 championship game and you're going to be missing some of your key players, I feel sorry for you. You definitely need to talk to your commissioner about changing your playoff format for next season. But also, I wanted to do this streamable defense video, not only for that reason, but for me anyways. I don't know if I have any listeners that take my streamable defenses and put this into their daily lineups and use these defenses as cheap options as well. With that being said, just like I've done all year, these defenses have to have at least 50% roster availability per the Yahoo League, so there's a good chance they're available out there if you are playing a championship game. But again, you can factor these defenses in your daily lineups as a cheap option. Let's just go ahead and dive through this list really quick. My number one streaming defense, I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Panthers. The Panthers, they've given up, they're tied for the third most sacks allowed. So I do like the ability that Tampa defensive front that does have some pass rushers like Shaq Barrett that can get after Bryce Young. And what I like about it too, they only are scoring 14.6 points per game. That is the second fewest in the NFL. So I think the Bucs give you a nice high floor as a streaming defense, and then if they can take advantage of that weak Carolina offensive line, they can potentially get some sacks. Now, looking back when these teams first played, this was back on December 3rd, so just almost a month ago. The Bucs did force 4 sacks, and they had a turnover in that matchup. And then one last reason why I like the Buccaneers, they are fighting for a playoff spot. They are fighting to win the NFC South, so they need to win this game. So I expect that their defense will be playing at a high level. Moving into my number 2 streaming defense, these teams have nothing to fight for, but I still do like the Patriots against the Jets. Patriots are available in 79% of the leagues right now, and a few reasons. Obviously, the Jets offense stinks, and they are giving up a potential way where this can be a good high ceiling performance for the Patriots defense. The Jets have allowed the second most sacks this season, and they are tied for the second most giveaways. So giving up the sacks, turning over the ball a lot. And now the first time these teams played, this was way back in September 24th. But in that matchup, the Patriots did force 3 sacks, but they didn't create those turnovers. But I think they're going to be able to do that in this matchup, especially with Trevor Siemian at the quarterback position. And then one other factor, or a couple factors are kind of intertwined. Bill Belichick owns the Jets as a coach. This is possibly Bill Belichick's last game with the Patriots. And you know he's not going to, if this is his last game, he is not going to want to lose to the Jets in his final game as the head coach of New England. And also, this just feels like one of those matchups where it's going to be a low-scoring game, and whoever wins between the Jets and the defense, I feel like it's going to be because of whoever's team's defense can create turnovers and maybe get a pick six or a fumble recovery for a touchdown. I like the chances that Bill Belichick's defense can make that happen. So I think this is a high-ceiling defense if that's what you're searching for. Moving into my number 3 streaming defense, I'm going to go with the Saints against the Falcons. Saints are available in 51% of the leagues right now. This is mainly a high ceiling play for me just because of how bad the quarterback position has been for Atlanta for basically the majority of the season. The factors that I'm taking in with this is a home game for New Orleans Saints. Just like the Bucs, the Saints need to win this game so they could possibly win the NFC South and get into the playoffs. So I expect their defense to be playing at a high level, especially in that raucous home crowd in the Mercedes Dome. And then the Saints defense is tied for the 4th most takeaways. Now, these two teams faced back on November 26th. They had no sacks, the Saints. So that's something to keep in mind. But they did force 2 turnovers. Again, this is a high ceiling defense. So if you're looking for a ceiling performance, I would also consider the Saints. My number 4 streaming defense, I decided to go with the Bengals against the Browns. The reason why on this one is Cleveland, despite their success this season, they have actually given the ball away the most times. In the previous matchup, this was the first game of the season. Bengals just forced 3 sacks and 0 turnovers. And then what I'm also factoring in, if you wanted to go for a ceiling play, especially the Bengals defense, probably I could see them being a cheap option on the daily lineups, is that we don't know quite yet if the Browns are going to play their starters. They're pretty much I believe, yeah, I should have looked this up. I'll be looking it up tomorrow for my start sit video, so I know which players not to suggest. But I believe the Browns are locked in as the 5th seed in the playoffs, right? So with them being locked in the 5th seed, they're either probably not going to play their starters, or they're going to pull their starters at some point during this game, which would put Dorian Thompson-Robinson at quarterback. You don't have to worry about Joe Flacco, right, tearing up this defense. Assuming that happens, if we do get word by the end of the week that the Browns won't be playing their starters, or maybe they're going to play their starters for a quarter, I even like the Bengals defense more. This is strictly, like I said, a ceiling play out of this defense, because the Browns have given the ball away the most times in the NFL this season, and then as well as there's a potential they're playing some backups in this game. My number 5 streaming defense, I'm going with the Lions against the Vikings. Lions are available in 73% of the leagues. I would have ranked them a lot higher, even though, I mean, Dan Campbell did say he expects his starters are going to play in this game. They're locked into their playoff seed. But I also do. Coaches do this every year, right? When they're like, "Hey, we're going to play our starters," but how long, right? Is it a quarter? Is it a half? Is it 3 quarters? We don't know. But with that being said, I still wouldn't mind streaming the Lions defense, just because this is a high ceiling play. Vikings have given the ball away the 3rd most times. It feels like whoever they have at quarterback, whether it was Nick Mullins, Jaron Hall, Joshua Dobbs when he was their quarterback gave the ball away at least once in every game. And then these two teams just faced off on Christmas Eve, and the Detroit Lions forced 4 sacks and 1 turnover in that matchup. Again, this would be a ceiling play. I don't really necessarily, like I said, I would trust them more if I know for a fact that the Lions are going to play their starters for all 4 quarters. Maybe something will come out between now and Sunday. But yeah, if you're looking for a streaming option, Lions probably might be, or a cheap play on daily lineups, Lions could be there for you as well. So yeah, that is my final streamable defenses. I felt like this segment and my fantasy videos did really great, especially on TikTok. So I appreciate everybody that loved these videos. I will definitely be doing this again next season. But as always, hit the like button. Make sure you do subscribe to all my social media platforms, including my YouTube channel, TikTok, X, Twitter, wherever you want to call it, so you guys can keep up with all my content throughout the season. Of course, I'll be back tomorrow night with my final starts and sits of this NFL season. I'm going to hop off here. I hope you guys enjoy your week. I'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace out.